I'm Nick Marquez. I'm from California, and my wife Claudel from Canada.
So we moved to Panama January 2022, about 2.5 years ago.
There's a lot of reasons we considered moving to Panama. A lot of it was to do with the friendly environment of moving here. It was very easy to get visas to move here. It just felt like it kept checking all the right boxes. So for us, it was easy because it used the US dollar. It was close to home. It was easy to get a visa and working rights, and easy to start a business here. And then there's really good surf and good weather all year round.
We considered moving abroad because, first of all, we're not from the same country, so we were looking for a home for both of us. And also, we wanted to start a business and operate, make a living, and it seems like the opportunity was better by moving abroad to Panama specifically. So overall, it was just giving us kind of more future perspectives.
Yeah, I think it really gave more of the balance that we were looking for. So it seemed like back in the United States, for example, it's a country of extremes or very intensity. And here you can have more of a balance overall in your life and your hobbies and your work.
We moved to Panama for, first of all, the stability. So it had a good, economic stability and political stability as well. And also for the opportunity. Opening a business here and, in the service industry, you can make a good living and have a good balance and make a good salary overall, and travel around as well is not too expensive.
We live in Playa Guanico Abajo, which is pretty remote as far as Panama is concerned. We are about 5 hours from Panama City, and we're about 2 hours from any big city, really. But we moved out here partly because of the remoteness and the tranquility that it offers, and then the proximity to good surf. So year-round, there's pretty much good surf here. Every month of the year, you can find waves to surf. And there's lots of construction and development going on. So it's a really nice place to be. And it's a really good time to be out here.
We live in the pueblo, in the town. We rent a very basic Panamanian house. We bought land down the road, but we haven't started building yet. So our neighbors, on 4 neighbors, we have 3 Panamanians and 1 expats, like hostel. And it's mostly locals that live around the house. Most of our neighbors, they're from here. They're born in this town and they have a family here. It's people that's been living here since forever. It's mostly locals. I think the close community. There's a really tight community here. You can, the people that live around the house, I consider them family. I can count on them. I can trust them. I can leave my house for 2 weeks. I know my animals will be fed. My house will be taken care of. Yeah.
So I like the surf around Playa Guanico the most. So there's really good waves.
Yeah.
The beaches are nice. The nature is nice. Overall, Playa Guanico has a really great balance.
Yeah.
My best experience so far in Panama was maybe, I guess, getting married. We got married here.
We got married here.
So, I mean, that was a pretty big step in life. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We bought, for me, my first real estate purchase was here in Panama. So it's got some pretty big life experiences for me here in Panama.
We started our first business here.
Yeah.
That was after marriage, our biggest accomplishment. And it's doing great, so I'm pretty blessed. I feel pretty blessed. A pleasant surprise would be the connect. I didn't think I would get so close with people, you know. I think I would move in a town and make my life and, you know, run my business and go to bed at night, but I didn't think I would develop like really meaningful relationships. And because you're expats here, you don't necessarily have your family around, so your friends and neighbors become family. I didn't expect that when I moved here, so it's a really pleasant surprise that you can feel that feeling of having a family without having an actual family.
So we started like a business doing water solutions for water wells, pump installations, water filtration, basically trying to solve water problems that come from development.
So for residential, industrial, and farms.
There's lots of development in the area, and we're in the dry arc of Panama, so everybody has some sort of water problem, and that was kind of our background. I was an engineer for these types of systems back home, and so I started doing something very similar here. So the cost of living in Guanico is pretty low compared to other parts of Panama. So I know up in maybe Boquete or Peresi, the rent you're going to be paying maybe between $600 and $1,500 a month. Obviously, that depends on what size of house and how nice it is. The rents here are going to be probably less than half of that. Again, depending on what size of house you're looking to rent, but you can rent a house for, under half of what you could there in Peresi. Some of the supermarkets are going to be more expensive though, because you're paying for more convenience store prices instead of like the big grocery stores that you would in, say, Las Tablas or Peresi. So the daily food is more expensive. The monthly rental prices is going to be less expensive. And then out here, some of the roads are a little bit worse. So it increases your expenses on your transportation. So your car maintenance expenses is higher here.
Yeah. So as per reference, in Guanico, for a local home, it would go between $150 to $300 a month. Like a 2-bedroom Panamanian house.
So the visa process when you're coming from the United States or Canada down to Panama, and you're not on, say, the retirement visa, the retirement visa is a pretty straightforward process. And I know our lawyer, she was doing like 7 or 8 of these a week. We were on a different visa because we're not retired and we had to start a business down here. So it was more involved and there was quite a bit of paperwork that we needed to get to do it all correctly. And it was a longer process. So it's hard to say if any individual step of that was the hardest one. It was just being diligent and going through the long process.
Yeah.
But there's always a solution, so.
There's one thing I would say. I was very lucky because for some reasons I kept my driving license up to date even though I was leaving the country. So when you move to Panama from Canada and then you do, you know, the driver's license and open a corporation, you really need your paperwork from home to be up to date. And I was very lucky because I could see other people going through that and then their driver's license or their stuff from home were expired. So it just adds another layer of like, you need to fix that in order to do your visa here. But that's the only challenge that you better be ready and organized for that because it just adds another layer of challenges.
That's a good point because it really simplifies the process if you have a valid driver's license from your home country. And then when you come down here and you get some sort of residency or visa status, it makes it really easy converting to a Panamanian driver's license if you have a valid one back home. We have really good internet. Yeah. So we have fiber optic and we have faster internet than some of my friends back in California.
Yeah.
And we pay, it's like $35 a month for really fast fiber optic internet. And she works online and she doesn't really have problems with the internet speed ever. No,
and then cell phone, we pay $5 a week. unlimited internet on the cell phone.
Yeah.
And the connection, if you're on the road, it will happen often that you don't have cell phone service. But but yeah, if you're on the road, that's the only way that's the only issue, that sometimes you don't have cell phone service on the road around here in the mountains. Wow, moving to Panama changed my whole way of thinking. It made myself more patient, more have more empathy, and also just trust the process. Just really trust the wave that you're on, and don't worry, everything will come out good. It really changed like myself in a way of like not being worried about things that are unnecessary, and be happy with what you have, and that changed me in that way.
Definitely makes you much more patient.
Yeah.
It makes you a better problem solver, and it'll either make you or break you, because you can either realize that there's always a solution, but sometimes people will get frustrated that the solution isn't right there in front of them. But there always is a solution. You just have to work your way through it, and it may not be the obvious solution.
Exactly.
So there's different problems down here that you will encounter when you move down here, but there's always a solution.
Yes?
Yeah, it's been really easy to meet people down here. It's a very welcoming community where we're at. And some of the local boys, you'll meet them out in the water. Even if you're surfing here one day, you'll already meet a couple of them.
Yeah, you'll already be invited to their cumpleaños, to their birthday. And
after surf beers or anything. Or there's also local softball games that they play on Sundays.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of events and activities going on to meet local people and other expats.
Yeah. You do make local friends quite easy.
So for any medical issues, you go to Tennessee. That's about 20 minutes away from here, and they will take care of most everything. So last year I popped my eardrum, and they were able to help me out there at the local hospital there in Tennessee. And it's also not very expensive. So if you're paying cash out of pocket, you're not going to go bankrupt by going to the hospital when you have an emergency and you need to see a doctor. My only experiences with the healthcare has been positive experiences. Well, the cantina down here in Guanico is famous for being a meeting point for everybody. So you'll always be able to meet a friend here at the cantina. And the owner of the cantina is one of the friendliest guys around and will welcome you to his place. So for the meeting spot, this is amazing. And for having local food, this is also really good. There's a number of local restaurants down here. And then if you want to go nearby, Cambutal is maybe 30 minutes away. And they also have a higher number of expats, and along with that, more expat restaurants. So you have a bigger variety of food if you go over there. Yeah, if you're considering moving to Panama, then I would definitely suggest doing a trip down here first and try to find some communities that offer what your interests are. So if your interests are being around other expats, then find a more expat-centric town, or if you want to be in a remote surf spot, then find a couple of those. But definitely make a trip down here, and if you can try to rent for a little while first, do that. And especially on the change in season. So dry season is going to be completely different than rainy season, especially where we are, because December to March, it's completely dry and there's no rain. And then starting in April, May, around this time of the year, we start getting rains. And then later on in the year, it'll be completely rainy. So be prepared for changes throughout the year. And if you can visit at a couple different times throughout the year or stay longer to make sure you like it for the whole year.
I would add to that, one thing I would advise to do if you decide to move down to Panama is focus on the process and not the end goal. Because a lot of the time I see people that have an idea in their mind, you know, they want to move to Panama, have a house, a big land, and do like a big permaculture project or a big hotel. and they skip probably 100 steps. You have to go, like, you have to really trust the process, because I know when people move to Panama, they have a dream, they have a goal, but sometimes, you know, they forget the process. And that's where it's actually important, and that's what you should focus on before the end goal, because otherwise your dream may fall apart. You have to really go one thing at a time and learn the process before actually getting your results.